Minecraft 1.21 is finally here, and here is every single new feature. So we're starting in the loading screen today, where you can see that it has been changed and it's now the trial chamber, which we will talk about later in this video. So at first we have a bunch of new paintings. You can pause the video to look at them all, but my favorite are definitely these smaller ones, plus this one with the Minecraft land. I am also really glad that they finally made 3x3 paintings, because it was kind of painful that we didn't have them. Next up, we also have a bunch of new copper blocks. First, we have the chiseled copper, which is this like X on it, and you can get it through the stone cutter. Next up, we also have the copper grate, which is quite a useful block for windows. And just like chiseled copper, you can also get it through the stone cutter. Then we have the copper doors, which you can actually open by hand, just like regular. So they are not like iron doors, and you can craft them with copper ingots in a crafting table. We also have copper trap doors, which, guess what? You can also craft with copper ingots in a crafting table. And the final copper block is the copper bulb. You can see both the unlit and the lit versions. And what's special about the bulb is that the less oxidized it is, the brighter it lights up the area. So basically this one, which is the fully oxidized one, barely emits any light, whereas this one, which is the brand new one, is the brightest. Another block that also got a major update is the Tuff, the addition of Tuff bricks, which you can of course get just like any other type of brick through the crafting table or through the stone cutter. There are also Tuff brick stairs, slabs, and walls, with the addition of a normal Tuff wall as well. There is also polished Tuff, with also slabs, stairs, and walls. And finally, the chiseled Tuff, which has these like wind bursts on it. I really like how they're adding more variants for blocks. Now we just need more calcite stuff. But moving away from the building side of this update, we have the new mobs. First one being the Bogged, which is a type of swamp skeleton. It will obviously be located in the swamps, and upon killing it, it drops arrows, poison arrows, and obviously bones. But the other, arguably more interesting new mob is the Breeze, which you can find in the trial chamber, and the Breeze will shoot wind charges at you. Once you kill it, you will get a breeze rod. The breeze rod can be crafted into 4 wind charges, or to make a new weapon, which we will talk about later. And wind charges are basically projectiles that you can throw at things to make them fly away a little bit. You can also make yourself go up in the air a little bit. It's quite a cool item. And if you combine it with a good jump, you can get up to 3 blocks. And the weapon I mentioned, which is made with the breeze rod, is the mace. To make the mace, you will need a heavy core and a breeze rod. A heavy core will be found in the trial chambers. We will talk about that later, but this is how you make the mace. The mace has 3 different enchantments. The first one we're going to talk about is the Wind Burst. Wind Burst goes up to level 3, and what it does is that when you use the mace, which to efficiently use the mace, you're supposed to jump at a mob from a height. Comparing it to a normal mace, a regular mace works like that, but the Wind Burst enchantment will launch you into the air after using it. The next enchantment is Breach, which goes up to level 4, and Breach is basically that it will go through armor easier. So when you're battling another player, you can just use Mace on them and their armor will not save them from Breach. The final enchantment, which you actually cannot combine with Breach, is Density. It goes up to level 5 and it's basically just like sharpness or power. It just adds a bit of extra damage to your mace attacks. Also, by the way, the attack attack speed of the mace is incredibly slow, meaning it's not very efficient to use without its intended attack. Overall, I think I prefer density over reach, especially for just regular single-player survival worlds. You won't really be facing anyone with armor on. Another new block is the crafter, which, you guessed it, can automatically craft things. How the crafter works is that you put in the thing you want to craft, then you can disable the rest of the slots, and then when you put items in the hopper above, it will start crafting you hoppers. But obviously, to do that, you do need redstone signal, and now it can pump out hoppers. And by the way, the redstone signal will need to be repeated, not just one. It has to be like a redstone clock or something. You cannot just... Next up, we have two other blocks, those being the trial spawner and trial vault. You're gonna find both of these in the trial chamber. The trial spawner is a special type of spawner that will spawn only a few mobs, and once you defeat those, it can give you a little bit of loot. Arguably the best loot you can get is the trial key, which can then later be used for the trial vault to get a few items. The trial vault is also the place where you get the heavy core. You can also get enchanted golden apples and like diamonds and enchanted armor and stuff, so it's pretty good loot. But how do you make it better? Well, you can in fact make trial chambers even harder with an ominous bottle. Since the new update, you will no longer get bad omen from killing the pillager captain. Instead, he will drop an ominous bottle, which upon drinking it will give you bad omen. Obviously, the effect can go up to level 5, and it will take 1 hour and 40 minutes once you drink it. Next up, there are also a few other potions, a potion of oozing, weaving, wind charging, and infestation. These are pretty much useless to you. They're only in the game because they will be splashed upon you in the trial chambers. Now let's finally take a look at the trial chambers. So to find them, you need a cartographer villager, and at the level journeyman, he might just sell you a trial explorer map. Obviously, he can also sell you a woodland explorer map instead. In that case, you need a new villager, but you can buy the map, and now you have a way to get to the trial chambers. So this is what the trial chambers look like. It's quite a big underground structure, and it has a lot of copper in it, so if you really need copper, this is the place to go. You will also be able to find ominous vaults in the trial chambers, which can only be opened by ominous keys. How do you get ominous keys? Well, you will need to drink a bottle with bad omen, and now, since you're in the trial chamber, it will start an ominous trial. See, now when I'm in survival, it started an ominous trial, which is basically something that makes the trial chambers even harder, and with this, you can get, instead of the regular trial key, the ominous trial key. You can unlock a little bit of better loot. Now, in terms of unique loot for the trial chambers, one thing you can see already right here, which is a new pottery shard, which can be in fact found here, and it is not the only new pottery shard, since there is one more, which is the Guster pottery shard. This is what it looks like, and as far as I'm concerned, those are the only new ones. In terms of other loot, there are 3 new music discs, which is Persepice, Creator, and a different version of Creator. There are also 2 new banner patterns, those being Guster and Flow. They are both essentially the same as the pottery shards, but they look pretty cool. By the way, this is the ominous trial key, and now we can unlock the ominous vault, which can give us obviously the heavy core, as I already mentioned, and quite a bit of good loot. You can also find 2 new armor trims here, those being Bolt and Flow. This is what Flow looks like, kinda nice, like a little windy Cloud City vibe. This is what Bolt looks like. I think it's a little bit worse, but it's fine. Tide is still my favorite armor trim, so I don't really care. Now let's take an even better look at the trial chambers. So there are many rooms. I will not show you every single one because I won't ruin the surprise of exploring them. One part of the trial chambers that I do want to show you. So see right here, there's a breeze spawner. So this is where you find the breeze. And now I will just let you explore it yourself. One more interesting change that was added is that the trident, the text is now purple because it's a rare item. Also subscribe.